Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Coast to Coast podcast. It is Thursday. Normally, this is the footy hour where it's me and Coach Joey and we talk soccer, but with the spring sports and full swing rye work, stuff's getting a little bit moved around right now.
And you wanted someone to watch the show.
Yes, correct.
So that's soccer.
Classic shots at soccer. We actually had pretty good viewership last week. We had Coach Tim Penrod on from SUNY Canton. His very young daughter made several guest appearances unexpected. So it was cute. It was adorable. But again, this is the Coast to Coast podcast. I'm joined by cousin Phil and Eric as always. Let's get thinks the earth is flat. So it never sat well with me.
Do you want a company that refuses to use your call box or
have to be patient? I don't understand why Chelsea gave him the tax so quickly.
You want to know who the cheap shots spread? Christian Laettner. You want to know who everybody talks about? Christian Laettner. You want to know who's one of the best basketball players ever in college? Christian Laettner.
All right, so first topic today, and I'm kind of surprised we're talking about it right now, and I say that because when I moved out here to Wisconsin, I really didn't think I was going to be able to get my fix of the Boston Celtics, and for whatever reason, they are continuously broadcast nationally on ESPN and TNT, obviously, but which I appreciate, but I am being continuously underwhelmed by what I watch on television when I watch the Celtics, and I feel like for maybe the last 3-4 years right now, I've been tricked into getting hyped at the beginning of the year and thinking like, this is it. You know, the Celtics, we're back, baby. We're going to compete. And I know like the Boston Celtics are legendary when it comes to the NBA. I believe they're tied with the Lakers for most titles. It's supposed to be title town. Celtics are one of the original 8 franchises in the NBA. And I don't really think we've been relevant in terms of winning a championship in like a decade, it feels like at this point. I mean, and it's starting to get a little frustrating here because, again, I keep getting looped into this. Brad Stevens right now he's on year 8 of being with the Celtics. And I'm just curious, how many coaches get 8 years of not really feeling like they're a championship contender? I can't think of any.
Well, I don't know, because
the Cavaliers fired their coach once when they were the top team in their conference.
Yeah, but they had LeBron James.
Yeah, they had LeBron James. It's different.
The Celtics, you can't compare.
But they were at the top. They were number 1.
But you can't compare like the Celtics and Brad Stevens, who took rosters that were supposed to be tanking years and took them to the playoffs. He's made the Eastern Conference. He's made the Eastern Conference Finals. He's made it to the second round several years. He's had, he made the Eastern Conference Finals without Kyrie, their leader, but he's had a lot of success with the rosters. Yeah, there was quotes for those that are just listening. So I don't know, because you can't expect, like, he hasn't had a title team. He hasn't had a team that has had the talent or the lack of injuries to actually get to a talent. So when I hear like this,
Jason Tatum and Gordon Hayward were supposed to be considered a title contender. Like that was supposed to be.
When was Kyrie Irving healthy for the play? When was Kyrie and Gordon Hayward both healthy for the playoffs?
The second year. Okay, maybe Gordon Hayward wasn't exactly healthy, but Kyrie Irving was supposed to. We gave up Isaiah Thomas, this big guy.
You mean Kyrie Irving when he shot like 6 for 20 something against the Milwaukee Bucks and he did a disappearing act?
I remember.
Okay.
I remember that distinctly.
Okay, yeah. So you're going to put that on Brad Stevens because Kyrie Irving pulled a Kyrie?
Okay, so here's my thing. At what point do we actually question Brad Stevens? Like, I like Brad Stevens. I think he's an incredible coach. He made Butler. I think he brought them to the Final Four 2 years in a row. Butler was a mid-major. Like, they had no business being in the Final Four 2 years in a row.
Lost to Duke in the national championship.
Yeah, I knew that one was coming. But he deserves
that spike.
He deserves a ton of credit. Like, I thought the Celtics were going to be in tank mode for 3 years, and in year 2, they snuck in as the 8th seed. So I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but I'm saying there's not many coaches that get 8 years. Like, I don't know how often people get to stick around like he has.
Yeah, but he's also dealing with the fact that, he had a guy in his conference named LeBron James that is arguably the best basketball player of all time. Like that's like anybody in the AFC having to go up against Tom Brady, for all the AFC championship games. Like that's not a bad team. In 7 years of opportunities, like in the playoffs, he's gone to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times. 0 times did he have a relevant big man. Like you still have to have a big man. I'm not saying it's got to be a big man that posts up all the time.
Daniel Tice.
Right. My point made. Thank you, Greg.
These.
Like Brad Stevens, although his stats, I think, are what hurt him because he's barely over 500 in the regular season. He's like 166 and 162. And in the playoffs, he's 37-36. But you've been in an opportunity, like as a sports fan, don't be spoiled. If the Boston Celtics are any other NBA franchise outside of the Lakers, and they've gone to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times out of the last 7 years, a lot of fans are going to be happy about that. Now, are they going to be frustrated that they can't get over that hill? But how many times did they have to play the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals when LeBron James was at the top of his game? Like when you've got a guy like that and you have nobody down low that can stop him once he gets going downhill, like your back's up against a wall. And they've won quite a few games. Like, they've put up somewhat of a fight where at least they're getting a couple wins in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're not going 4-0. I mean, like it's not all. Am I saying that, he doesn't deserve, a little bit of blame? Absolutely. Like, try to figure it out. But who else has figured out how to stop LeBron James? Like he goes to the West, he wins there. He goes to Miami, he wins there.
Okay, we don't have to figure out how to stop LeBron James anymore. He's over in Lakerland. So I guess.
And they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
Okay, and we lost to who was it? The Sixers? No, the Heat.
The Miami Heat. The Heat. And the Heat took the Lakers to 6 games.
Okay, at what point can we expect more, or at what point does Stevens deserve a little bit of pressure here?
Let's back it up from Stevens a little bit. What about Danny Ainge? Because let's look at some of these things that he's done recently, right? He didn't re-sign Gordon Hayward. Injury risk wasn't working. Gordon Hayward is lighting it up in Charlotte, right? He gets rid of.
That's not on Ainge.
Hang on. What is it not?
I'm hanging on. Hang on.
The general manager's job is to give the coach the players to win.
And he gave him Hayward, and now he's doing great. Under Stevens, Hayward was a shell of himself.
No, Hayward was great when he was healthy. Okay, he had Kemba Walker, or Danny Ainge trades for Kemba Walker. And part of this is maybe just bad luck, right? Okay, Gordon Hayward's never healthy on the Celtics, never has a full healthy season or playoffs, leaves, goes to Charlotte, is healthy, looks amazing. Kemba Walker has a knee injury. He's a shell of himself. So Hayward or Brad Stevens is working with that. Scary Terry, who we traded to get Kemba, is lighting it up in Charlotte as well, which we couldn't have predicted, which is bad luck.
Are you saying him and Brad Stevens aren't? I feel like him and Brad Stevens are working in concert with all these moves.
I feel like that there is bad luck when you look at those 3 players and moves, right? Like we lost Gordon Hayward, who would really be a good facilitator that we need right now. And then, and to put on Dange, he signs Tristan Thompson. When has he ever been good at anything? Except rebounding.
He was halfway decent with the Cavaliers.
No, he could rebound.
He
rebounded with the Cavs.
The first year Brad Stevens got the Celtics into the playoffs when they got swept by the Cavaliers, they were actually competitive, and Tristan Thompson in the final 2 minutes always came up with an offensive rebound that just sunk us.
But that's all he could do is like get offensive. He's a ball stopper. He's not reliable on offense. He's not the best defensive player. I think that part of it is bad luck in regards to those moves. Part of it is this roster that Brad Stevens has. And I think part of it, you also have to put blame on the superstars, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who they're not really making their teammates better. Like they're not.
All right, so that leads me to the second Celtics. Wow, good English, Greg. That leads us into the second Celtics topic. And I did want to talk about Jason Tatum, but we can talk about some of the other stars as well. I mean, I feel like ever since we got Kyrie Irving, one of the Celtics' biggest problems has been sharing the ball, finding a way to get the most out of their star players, if you will. And even when you watch this year, it still doesn't really feel like it's working. Now, if we're not going to put that on Brad Stevens after year 3, then the fault definitely has to start to become on the players. And one thing and I talked about this probably way too much in my friend circle, if you will, I feel like sometimes when I watch Jason Tatum, I feel like I'm watching Carmelo Anthony. And that is not a compliment. I'm not talking about current Carmelo Anthony, where he's happy to take a supporting role and contribute. I'm talking about Carmelo Anthony with the Knicks that just wants to dribble, isolation ball, and launch long fadeaway 2-point jumpers. I guess I'm just curious, what is your guys' take on Jason Tatum? Obviously, he's one of the better players in the NBA right now. It's a super high ceiling. But after year one, people were like, this guy's got Kobe Bryant-like skills. And now it's like, I mean, I was watching, I don't remember it was last night or 2 nights ago, 2 possessions in a row in the final minute. Jason Tatum gets the ball, just dribbles for 15 seconds, and then starts a perilous drive that's going nowhere. And he had 2 turnovers in literally a 20-second span. And this is in the final minute of a close game. So I don't know. I mean, does any of the blame lie with Jason Tatum? Am I wrong? Yeah. Am I being too hard on this guy?
But Jason Tatum was also helping them win playoff games at 19 years old.
Yeah. And he's 23.
Very good player.
Eric, can I rephrase the conversation real quick? Because Greg, it feels like, and you've had this hype. They were your preseason pick. You picked them last year to win the championship. You picked them the year before. And you're coming to this conversation like, why aren't we winning a title with this team? Look at this team. Look at this.
I am looking at this team. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker.
Well, who are they?
Robert Williams looks like a premier big man right now.
No, he doesn't.
Are you kidding?
This roster has like 4 people that shouldn't be in the NBA. This is not a good roster.
What?
This is not a title roster.
Who shouldn't be in the NBA? Give me a break.
No, the fact that you think this is a title team, look, they're going to get past Brooklyn, they're going to get past Milwaukee or Philadelphia. You're out of your mind.
Right.
If you think
3 years ago, this team was fun to watch.
3 years ago, they had Gordon Hayward and
they're
Kyrie
the worst
Irving
defensive team in the NBA right now. They're letting up 111 points.
Wait. They hired Brad Stevens because he took Butler to 2 Final Fours and was literally a ball off the rim in the final seconds at the buzzer from upsetting Duke to win a national championship, right? Danny Ainge said, I need you to do that in the NBA. You can't get the best recruits at Butler, but you have a system to get them to the Final Four. He has gotten them, like he had Gordon Hayward at Butler. So like that was a really, really, really good college basketball player. So he's given them an all-star, Kyrie. Now they're hoping Jason Tatum. And they've said, you have to go beat LeBron because you've beaten you have to go beat the Nets with, by the way, who's won the NBA titles the last couple of years? Teams that have 2 or 3 of the top 10 players in the league. Like, you're not going to win. The Miami Heat were as close as you could get to winning an NBA Finals without having one guy that was a top 10 player in the league.
Do you think we should have beat the Heat last year?
I think if you're going to put something on Brad Stevens, you're going to put it on that Eastern Conference Finals because the Heat and the Celtics were such a good matchup. Like if he was going to quiet his critics, he shouldn't have lost to the Heat, right? Like he needed to beat them because they were a very similarly built team, right? There was no top 10 player on the Heat. There wasn't 2 top 10 players.
I need to know, Greg, if you think this is a title team, if you have a playoff series, 7 games, who are the 8 players? Who are the 8 players you're counting on from this roster that you can play in a playoff series?
Maybe it's not a title team, but
tell me the 8 players. Come on. Where's the roster? What is it? Because you can't. Because you're going to get like 4 guys in, and then you're going to be like, oh, this is not good. They should not be on the court in an NBA Finals game.
Let's see.
Now, I'll say what's not helping them too, though. You're not going to be able to find 8 players, so I'm going to save you, right? Just like you couldn't pick one of the 5 prop. That's Super Bowl you have. I
like Marcus Smart.
Doc Rivers went to Philadelphia with the same team, and they're a top 2 seed in the East, right? So he completely changed that culture, and like they're going. So that's not helping him as a team in the same division with all of the same players. Went from being one of the worst like turnover teams to now they're going to compete for an NBA championship, where Brad Stevens has to look at that and go, I've got the same roster, and did they win tonight? Are they 19-19 or 18-18 or something? Like,
I don't know.
That's what's killing him. 19-17. Yeah. He's a 500 team.
I just feel like this team should be more competitive, and it's some of it I can't measure. It's if I watched this team 3 years ago, I was more entertained by the team I'm watching now. Like I just feel like I'm watching way too much isolation basketball. And one thing I used to love about watching the Celtics 3 years ago was the effort, the energy. Like I feel like they did the dirty work and made up for things. And now it just looks like.
But which team do you want? You just said Brad Stevens is an issue, and that's Brad Stevens basketball. Like you're going to
asking
moving the ball
because I'm doing some serious soul searching about my
Greg. Look at
for the
this
Celtics
roster,
right now.
like, and tell me, like, if you have Jaylen Brown and this is part of it because Brad Stevens
Okay, but you're about
to play San Antonio Spurs basketball. He wants ball movement. He wants threes, and the Celtics outside of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't have 3-point shooters. They don't. Kemba Walker. Yeah, if he's wide open and you leave him alone, but like he's also a liability on defense and he's lost the step. I hope he gets healthy. I hope he gets better, but the player he is right now is not the Kemba Walker of last year or the last 2 years. So the basketball that Brad Stevens wants to play isn't it. Tristan Thompson, what's he going to do? He's not going to help their style of basketball.
He's going to grab boards.
He's going to grab boards and then stop the ball movement and be a liability.
He's going to pick up 3 to 4 fouls a game so he can do his job.
Yeah, that's what you want. So they need to get some more shooters because right now with the personnel, with Marcus Smart injured, they got to play one-on-one. They got to play hero ball. And it's not this isn't the type of basketball that Brad Stevens wants to play. And I think the blame
game it's not about hero ball.
But it's everybody. It's Danny Ainge. He hasn't put together the rosters that he has in the past. Brad Stevens has to make do, but also Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown need to make their team better. Well, I don't know how much better they can make this team, but they need to step up with leadership because what we're seeing is when Marcus Smart isn't there being the guy driving everyone, like he's like the Draymond Green of like, the Warriors. But when he's not there, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's leadership, like it's not where you would want it to be. People don't look to them. They're looking to Marcus. And when Marcus isn't on the court, you see the impact.
I was actually going to ask that, like, how important is Marcus Smart to this team? And I actually saw it on Twitter. Someone was asking, like, is Marcus Smart, like, do the Celtics really need Marcus Smart this badly? Because it just feels like a completely different team with and without him. I mean, it's just aesthetically watching them, like the hustle, the effort, the energy, like it's different when you have Marcus Smart. And I don't know, Marcus, come back. I miss you.
Do you think they're just having a hangover hard, from going deep in the playoffs? Do you think that maybe they got on a run last year and now it's kind of catching up to them? They're down Marcus Smart. Like they got rid of a guy. They brought Kemba in. They're trying to mesh. Like, do you see this team being a top 4 seed by the end of the year? Do you
Not
think
with this roster.
I think they should be. I think.
Well, it's
I don't think their roster is that bad. I don't think their roster is.
It's the East with the Nets and Philly in your division. So there's 2 teams that are going to finish in front of you.
But like, what was Philadelphia's major upgrade?
Doc Rivers. You're going to do it my way, and you're going to shut your mouths.
So same relative talent level, but they're just shooting ahead of us.
No, you're going to Embiid is the. Like Embiid is
no. I meant Sixers last year to this year. I love Joel Embiid.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I think that's where Brad Stevens is really taking it on the chin because they lost to Miami with a similar type team, and now you got Doc Rivers that moves into Philly. And
let's not forget Kemba Walker was facing those injuries during that playoff series. Like he wasn't himself. So it was that. And again, I think we really miss Gordon Hayward because when he was on the court, he was their best facilitator. He could move, he could cut to the basket. He knew where to be and what to do. And he was really valuable. And we don't have another player like that right now. And we're seeing that. And I think that, Danny Ainge let Gordon Hayward walk. Kemba's injured. It's bad luck and some bad decisions. And we're not used to seeing that from Ainge. And I
think Hayward had an option and he opted out.
Couldn't we have re-signed him?
I don't remember. Well, yeah, technically, but I don't think Hayward wanted to come back.
And here's the East isn't that good, but we have Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and then of course Toronto, Miami, and Boston, and a couple other teams. But those are the main ones that you would think about. So for the Celtics are currently in 4th at 19-17, which the East is terrible. So to keep that 4th seed, because I don't think they're passing Milwaukee. I think we can all agree they're not passing Milwaukee, Brooklyn, or Philly. So They would have to stay ahead of Miami and Toronto, and which they're a couple games, which isn't much. So do I think they can stay ahead of them? When I think about it that way, they can. I don't know if they will. I don't know if I would bet on it. but they could end up with the 4th seed at best. But then they're probably playing one of those teams either way in the first round.
I don't think this team is playing to its potential right now, but apparently Philip thinks we have a dumpster of a roster. So
I think we have a 4th to 5th, like 4th to 6th seed Eastern Conference roster team that can maybe pass the first round. That's the roster we have right now in the East.
Yeah, I mean, I wish Kemba didn't have all these knee problems. I'm curious. Maybe
Kemba comes in with knee problems, and Gordon Hayward's gone. Like, we should go to the title. It should be a championship roster. Like,
maybe
Greg,
what's
maybe
I need to give
water?
the injuries a little more value. Nothing actually. We have the cleanest water in the world out here in Lake Superior, for the record.
6 foot tall Kemba's lost a step, and you're expecting him to light up the NBA on fire.
Oh man. All right. Speaking of on fire, we're gonna move on to some recent baseball stuff here, and in turn, I'm already starting laughing here, and I shouldn't be laughing because this is some pretty serious stuff. But keep it together, Craig. We're gonna talk about the Mets ex-GM, Jared Porter, and ex-head coach Mickey Callaway. And if you didn't hear, Jared Porter was the Mets GM that it came out that he, I think at one point, sent 70 text messages to a woman. That was 70 messages
with zero responses. Just so everybody's aware, no responses. Guys, don't send text messages.
And this is obviously harassment, and I'm not laughing at the fact that it's harassment. I'm laughing that
what does message 50 or 60 say? What do you even
like, this is a grown adult. Like, I've heard stories of an intoxicated college student like firing off 7 unanswered text messages at 2 a.m. But for this, and I'm not even saying that is appropriate, but 70 unanswered text messages as a grown adult.
I know you miss every shot you don't take, but man, you need to stop.
Just taking it to another level, and then topping it off with sexual pictures at the end of said 70 messages. Like, I don't know. Take a hint. Just terrible. I mean,
and is this because you guys know more about it than me? So to let the listeners know, is this why he was let go and is no longer the manager, or were there other things as well?
Well, he was a GM, GM with the 70 or whatever. Like, he was let go, but kind of digging into his history and stuff, there was a lot more reasons for him to be let go on top of that.
And so then we also have the Mets former coach, who I believe Porter hired, or he was part of the.
He was in the process. He was part of the process.
Porter was part of the hiring process for former Mets GM Mickey Callaway, and it came out that Mickey Callaway likes to send women pictures of parts of himself as well. And what's starting to come out now, and this is actually a little bit more, it's all serious, but this is kind of just appalling, is how many people knew that Mickey Callaway was the way he was. In fact, at one of his previous jobs, his nickname was sorry. Oh God. His name was Mickey McDickpick. Like, just like, come on. Like, how is this guy getting hired as a GM in the MLB?
Oh, he's a manager. He was
manager.
McDickpick was the manager.
Like, who thinks that's okay to hire someone and gotta
who thinks it's okay? The same people that get mad about cancel culture. Like this same generation. I mean, it's showing this thing of like the people in the hiring rooms that are hiring, that hear these stories, that laugh about these nicknames. I mean, we're laughing in the sense of the ridiculousness that someone could have that name could get this job. But
like in all seriousness, this is the issue with baseball, like especially Major League Baseball, because you get these guys. I can't. I mean, I know his name. Do you think they walked around like when they walked in the building? Hey, McDickpick, how you doing? Like, you think they were using it like that?
How messed up do you have to be? And like, I'll let you get to your serious point in a moment because it is serious. But like, this was known at multiple previous jobs of his. It was so bad when McDickpick was with the Indians that he was sending this stuff to married women, and a husband actually called into the team, furious, sent them proof. And I believe it was the Indians. They did nothing. Like not a problem in the world. This is a professional sports organization, and this guy's running around doing this, and it's just like no big deal, nothing. Like this is our culture. This is what we want representing us on the field.
Yeah, and baseball, I don't know about soccer and stuff and other sports, but everybody you talk to in the baseball world talks about baseball being so small. Like it's such a small world. Everybody knows everybody. And I feel like you get these guys that get in the game. They know important people. Come on, you guys are killing me. I mean, you're killing me.
It's too ridiculous. I can't not laugh.
I wish we had just saved this for the very end, and then you could have told me what his nickname was. Like I
wish I didn't say it. Like I was literally like I was making show notes. I was reading, and I'm like, I just came across this, and I'm like, no way, and like everyone knew. I can't get over that. Everyone's willingness to go along with this. It's so bad. When I'm going to say his real name now, when Mickey Callaway worked for Terry Francona, Callaway was the pitching coach for the Indians. Francona was the head coach. Francona knew. The complaints actually reached him, and Francona's comments to upper management about the whole situation when the husband was complaining was, I'm not going to lose my pitching coach. Like, oh, sweet, we got our priorities in order. He's the pitching coach. Man, you got 7 of them working for you in the minor leagues. Like, he's replaceable. And that what he was doing was so embarrassing, but apparently it's not embarrassing given Francona's response. It's just, I don't know, it just blows my mind. I apologize that I've been laughing this much because the name's just so ridiculous. But I mean, can you imagine you're running an MLB team and that is what your whole organization knows a guy as? It's insane. But to your point, Eric, sorry, go ahead, Philip.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I think that's just a reflection on the Me Too movement and the power that it's had, because for so long people could do that and we didn't think it was a big deal, a big deal as a society, as a culture, in workplaces everywhere, where people are like, you can have someone like that, and people are like, well, why would I lose my pitching coach over that? Like, who cares? Like, that was just the culture of how things were done. And that's why I kind of made the comment of, the people that hired this, the people that did this are the same people that are mad about cancel culture. They're like, oh, wait, I have to be held accountable for what I did? This is absurd. And so that's kind of like, we have to take in the context that, like, yeah, then with Terry Francona or all these other things, like, people knew, but people didn't care at the time. Because
it's called the good old boy mentality. Like, that is thrown around baseball a lot. And that's not a good phrase to be thrown around anything. I mean, you just think about like what it stands for, and you wonder why the game is suffering so much, because you have these empowered men that they latch onto their little crew. Their little crew rides them through. They stay in the majors from players or agents or scouts, managers, work their way up through the minors, whatever it is, and they take care of each other. And yet the game never changes. And when things like this happen, they all cover it up for each other. So you have, especially a female, like you have 10 white men normally, right? 10 white empowered males, opinion in a good old boy sport against one female. Like, in the females, I can't imagine how many of them have gone through something like this.
Yeah. Go ahead, Phil.
I lost what I was going to say.
No, it's just, I don't know. I guess, do you think, I can't believe I'm going to say this, is the NFL ahead of the MLB when it comes to, I don't know, modernizing?
I think it depends on where you look at it. I don't think you have as much violence in the major leagues as you do in like the NFL. I'm not trying to compare either, obviously. Like, they're both a serious issue. Yeah. But I think you have your issues in both. But like, just sticking with the MLB, you think you think about how disgusting it is, right? Like you have violent people out there. Your neighbor might be violent, right? But I would rather have like a violent neighbor than a creepy neighbor, right? Like I just think about like the word creepy, and I guess it's probably a loose term. Like there's a lot of other like things you could, say about that type of person. But I just think to myself, like doing that and how that woman or those women felt like it wasn't anything.
Part of the issue with creepiness too is it's like it's not just the creepy element, it's the I'm a man, I can do this without consequence attitude as well. And then like the Franconas of the world reinforce that without consequence mentality.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget. I mean, like, we are appalled by this. Like, this is stuff where it's laughable. Of like, how could this even happen? Like, what is going on? But let's not forget that, like, even we can think like, oh yeah, this is how things are now, and no one would get away with it. Over 70 million people voted for someone that was recorded talking about sexual assault, and they laughed and they said, oh, it's just locker room talk. And that's what people like this do. They're, oh, it's no big deal. They downplay it. They'll downplay it and they protect it. There's a great book by Rowan Farrell called Catch and Kill. And for those of you who don't know who Rowan Farrell is, he's the son of Woody Allen. And he's an investigative journalist. And he's the one that broke the Harvey Weinstein story. And the crazy thing in his book is it's not only that all the things that Harvey Weinstein did to cover it up and how much power he had, NBC even covered it up. So it wasn't even like that, like he was reporting on the story and they kept burying it and they kept burying it. And it just goes like, because more older white men in power that have done the same things that had this, but Matt Lauer, like he's there and he's their golden boy and he's their things. He had a button that could lock the door so people couldn't leave. It's
horrible.
Yeah. So like this type of thing, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in baseball. It's in football. It's in basketball. It's in all these huge organizations. And just because maybe we haven't heard about it yet doesn't mean it's not there, because it's going on. It's just part of that culture and that thing. Like, I don't want to say age group because I don't want to just put it on the older, but it is like that was part of their culture that they brought in and continued. Like I said, the same people that are getting mad about cancel culture are the same people that hired these people.
Yep. So, and now you have technology.
So yeah, they don't know how to work technology, and they're like, "Oh man, this is getting me caught. This is not good."
You can't erase that.
Yeah, they're like, "His word against mine." It's like, no, we can read your email. Like,
right.
Oh no.
Sent 70 unanswered text messages. We know it's you. You know you're a weirdo.
Yeah. So I think we have to take that into account when talking about this, because we can be appalled, but still, there's so many people that don't care, and that's the more disheartening thing than this guy is that. As America, as society, as a culture, we're still like coming around to the idea that like, hey, people like this shouldn't get hired. This and that shouldn't be a novel concept.
I think one of the disappointing things as I was reading more about Mickey Callaway and Jared Porter was just the sports industry has they're so public. Everything, like there's so many young men out there and young women, of course, that look up to these athletes, these organizations, like they follow them on social media, like they get all this news right. Like the sports industry can do so much positive change in these worlds. And when you hear the stories of these cover-ups and just these laissez-faire attitudes when it comes to hiring and people's professionalism, not even just professionalism, just general good behavior, it's really disappointing. It's extremely disappointing.
Yeah.
Moving along here, one other thing I didn't even tell you guys, I was going to bring this up. It's going to be really quick here. Big Ben going back to the Steelers for another year. That's Ben Roethlisberger. How do you feel about that? I think it was a $5 million pay cut, but everything's going to be paid out over the next 2 years. I saw it on Instagram, basically literally almost right before we went live. I feel like this is a colossal mistake for the Steelers, just my opinion. Finished the year last year, I think it was 1-5 after starting 11-0. It didn't look like anyone really wanted to play wide receiver with Roethlisberger under center. I don't
They're
know.
Steelers in the first round if they make the playoffs. Good job. Like you're in a harder division now. The Browns are a year older, more mature. Made the playoffs. Killed you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like you just don't have an answer for it. Your draft pick isn't good enough to get a quarterback. You don't have the money to go buy one or trade. You don't want to trade for one. Like they're irrelevant as far as a championship goes.
What other option did they have?
Anything? I don't know.
I mean, he's better than anything, though, right? Like he's better than anything.
He's still better. Like, is he the reason they went 11-0 and then like 5 and lost the last 5? I don't know.
The field. I mean, he can't. They literally only run slot. Like the slot guy runs over the middle and they throw outs and quick hitches and stuff. Like they don't throw the ball down the field.
To me, he didn't look like a good quarterback those final 6 games. Like he did look like a major part of the problem. Where I think it would be smarter to take a chance on a rookie, at least someone that has the arm to move downfield, maybe someone that has some legs left.
Maybe they draft. I mean, I'm fine with the re-signing because, again, you need to have a quarterback. And if you want to draft a rookie to replace him, and then the rookie beats him out in practice, that's fine. Do that. But like, there's not.
We do have to remember, Bud Dupree got hurt, and that's really when they started to fall off of that defense. Like, Bud Dupree got hurt, and I think one of their other defensive players got hurt, and that's really when they started to struggle. Like, I get they didn't score a ton and stuff, but they were 11-0 with a really, really good defense. And we've seen Peyton Manning win a Super Bowl, like, with a really good defense and an average offense and stuff. So, like, it can be done, which I think is probably where they're throwing their cards this year. Like,
and I'd imagine Ben's drop-off probably had something to do with health as well. Maybe playing through injuries, maybe playing hurt, maybe he comes back healthy. And again, like, yeah, sign him. You have a history with him. If he drops off, you can trade him. You can make a move. You can draft a rookie quarterback and see how, and give him a year to develop. So I'm fine with it, especially if he's taking a pay cut. Like, yeah, why not? Go for it.
All right, moving along. We got 2 segments here. First, we have the Undelivered Award of the Week. This award, as usual, is sponsored by UPS. UPS always coming through with the Undelivered Award of the Week. If you are unfamiliar why they're our sponsor, it's pretty gracious of them to stick with us through all these weeks and times. Tune into episode 10. You have to go back there on Spotify, iTunes, our Patreon, wherever you find us, wherever you can find podcasts. Tune into episode 10 and you'll see the origins of the Undelivered Award of the Week, sponsored by UPS. I heard you both had one this week.
When you say origins, you make it sounds like it's got its own multiverse, like Marvel, the origin story of the UPS, the cinematic universe.
We brought it back in episode 17 too, where it was pretty funny. But.
Yeah, Eric, you have one as well.
Yeah, go ahead. Mine's pretty quick.
My UPS Award of the Week, and this they have been failing to deliver for a long time, and it infuriates me, is ESPN.com highlights. Now, if you've ever been on ESPN.com, I don't know if you guys have had this, but if I'm on my phone, you scroll in, and then it's like this amazing highlight play, like Joel Embiid hits the 3 to send the game to overtime. I'm like, you know what? You fooled me before, but I'm going to click this, and I click it, and then they're like, okay, before we get to your 30-second clip, here is a minute-long ad. Crystal clear definition. As soon as the clips start on ESPN, it is grainy and you can't see what's happening, and it starts to like form, and the picture comes in right after the highlight and everyone's celebrating. It's like, I don't even know what I just saw. Like, and it's every time, and they still get me. And it's like, ESPN, your only job is to show highlights. Like, that's one of your main jobs, and you don't have a video streaming thing that can actually show them. And it's the most perfect idea of what UPS is, because UPS is supposed to deliver and they don't. ESPN's supposed to show highlights, and they'll show you an ad in crystal clear definition, and then the highlight. Like, I'll go to Twitter and just like type in whatever it is, because I can find that in better quality without an ad than ESPN. And that's absurd. ESPN, like, get it together.
Literally what they were made for. Like, literally what ESPN was made for.
Yeah, and I've tried this on different computers and like different internet connections and speeds, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, and it's every time. It's infuriating. Yeah, but I keep clicking it, so that's on you.
Yeah, that's on you.
That's literally all I was thinking about was Philip just try number 50, just still going at it, being disappointed.
Sometimes it's just like, do I really want to scroll over to because I have to like do it through because I don't have a.
It's like shipping your significant other a Valentine's Day gift for 20 years in a row and using UPS and wondering every year why it gets there late. Like
every year why she yells at me, she's like, you forgot again. It's like, no, I just picked UPS to deliver.
It really went full circle there.
Oh God.
I'll try to keep a straight face for you, Eric.
No. It's pretty simple. I think our social media guru Keegan is really going to appreciate this one, because if all of you have not noticed these, and just look at Greg's picture.
Oh no, I know where this is
and
going.
Phil's picture in the beautiful high-tech microphones that they're speaking into. And I went on Amazon and typed in pilots like earphones, and this is what I got delivered to me. And for this is my 5th or 6th episode, and Keegan, I mean, I think he's just given up on it, has reminded Greg countless times, to send me the microphone so I don't sound like I'm like in an airplane, and I don't have this on my head. Thank you, everybody. I don't have this on my head. Guys, I couldn't even get it to work. I literally just hit a button on my computer and the whole thing started to work right before we went live. And so I'm hoping that I do not have to wait for Greg Gilmore to not deliver the microphone.
I thought you sent it. I thought he sent it. Oh my gosh.
I texted it and said like, oh, I'll bring it over to the post office today.
I thought like Keegan was like, yeah, I tried to deliver it with UPS. I'm like, why would you do this? Why? I thought that's what it was going to be, that like we mailed it to you through UPS for some reason. But Greg, oh my gosh.
It is not my fault, everybody. I apologize. But I apologize for my friend Greg.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. I don't feel guilty anymore about throwing in some trivia questions that I don't think you guys are going to get. Actually, you should get. Actually, honestly, you might get all of them.
If I get more baseball questions than Eric again, I don't. Dude,
I don't think there's any baseball ones.
Can I be I get to be an assistant coach next year.
You can teach all of our club kids how to bat flip. I will bring you out for a special day on Sunday. Okay?
And I can just teach a bunch of different variations of celebration.
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be fun. All right. So sticking in the first half of the show is all about the Boston Celtics. So we found a theme. I'm kind of curious if my dad is watching right now, because there was 2 questions that I thought he might get. I don't think you guys will get. I think you will get the other 2, but they're definitely all in play. So Dad, if you're out there, use the comment section, because I'm actually really curious, because he likes to call me after and say, I knew that one. I got that one. And I want to see the proof. So, all right, first question. When were the Celtics founded?
Oh, jeez. Are you going to give us multiple choice?
Yeah,
I will.
come on.
I will.
Okay. My God.
Let me just write down a couple answers here.
There's more than one answer?
No, I've got I was only going to give you, I mean, there's like a specific era. Like, it's not that. All right. Is it A, 1946? Is it B, 1952? Is it C, 1953? Or is it D, 1944?
$1953.
Eric's answer is locked in at 1953. Man, another undeliverable for me. Forgot the Jeopardy music. Again.
Was it 53 and 52?
Those are 2 different options.
Yeah. I'll go with 52.
Tim Penrod is fired in with 1952 as well. Waiting to see if Gary Gilmore is going to fire in an answer. Probably means I'm going to get a text message after the show. The correct answer was 1946. 1946. Founded in 1946 as one of the league's original 8 teams, the Celtics are one of only 2 charter franchises, the other being the New York Knicks, still playing in their original city today.
Wow.
Fun facts for you. What is the name of the Celtics mascot? You do not get multiple choice answers for this one.
Lucky?
Philip's answer is locked in at Lucky. I thought Eric was going to get this one.
Oh, man.
I don't know anything about basketball.
Would you like to change? Yeah, but you're over there. Would you like to change your answer, Philip?
Yeah, I'm going to go with, may I change it?
You can change it.
I'm going to go with Patty.
Patty. Sticking with the Irish theme.
Yeah.
Go pass.
The correct answer was Lucky. That's all.
Are you kidding me?
Unfortunate. Both should get this one. Which Celtics player grabbed 50 rebounds in a single game? And I will help you cross off a couple ones. It is not Tristan Thompson. It is not Robert Williams. And it is not Daniel Tice.
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell is correct.
I'd like to change my other answer back to Lucky.
Which Celtic is one of only 5 NBA players to lead his team in all 5 major statistical categories for a season? That is points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals.
Kevin Garnett.
So Kevin Garnett's actually incorrect, but Kevin Garnett is one of 5 NBA players to do that feat, but it was not with the Celtics.
I just know you love Kevin Garnett, so I thought that was an easy one.
I'm between. I think I'm going to go because I don't think Larry Bird would have led in blocks because I was wondering about him because I think they had a short team and he could have led the team in rebounds. But I think I'm going to go with Bill Russell again.
Correct answer was Dave Cowan. I threw this question in here specifically to target my dad because I didn't know who Dave Cowan was, and I figured that maybe gave me a good chance of stumping my dad with this one. A couple other notable players. The other players who to do it are Giannis, LeBron James, Kevin Garnett, and Scottie Pippen.
I get half a point for that, right? Because he was one of them and he played for the Celtics?
I'll give you half a point. It's not a bad one, Kevin Garnett. Yeah, I think that actually gives Eric the win for this week.
Well, I got lucky.
No, you didn't get lucky. You were pretty steadfast in changing it out of lucky. So a little bit.
I was
unfortunate.
that was.
Got to stick with it there. But
pulled it in. Pulled the Kyle Shanahan.
That's our
on the ball.
That's our show this week. I apologize for the complete nonstop laughter at one point.
I feel like we got stuck in the laugh cycle because I would just look at you laughing and I'm like, oh,
no, we did. I almost thought about taking off my camera at one point because then poor Eric's trying to launch into something pretty serious and like actually, make turn the conversation relevant to present day baseball problems of society, and I'm over here laughing away at
McDick
Big. Coach McDick. Oh my God, what a mess. So apologies for that.
Sorry, America.
Yeah, I can't imagine how bad that's going to sound when people listen to that on like Spotify and it's only the audio, but oh well, it is what it is. Again, if you are listening to this on audio and it's after the fact, we do our shows live on Facebook and YouTube as well. So follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. We're going to be moving our showtime to Sunday evenings, it sounds like. Again, for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be a little bit hit or miss here and there just because for scheduling reasons. And also, don't forget, we do have the Footy Hour. Then that's weekly, and that's with Coach Joey, and that is usually Thursday evenings. And that's a show that's devoted mostly just to soccer. So, again, be sure to subscribe to our Patreon, follow us on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, leave us reviews, comment back, get at us. All right, thanks for listening this week.
Bye.
Coast to Coast Podcast is hosted by Greg Gilmore. That's me, Phil Marino. The show is produced and roughly edited by yours truly. Feedback, you can always reach us via email at talkcoasttocoastpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's talkcoasttocoastpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.